That record was a lot of fun to make because this was, as some know already, that was recorded in 2007, and we just basically kept all the guests and then stripped the drums and vocals off and did a second version with, of course, the amazing Dave Lombardo and Stu Block, as you know. But it was amazing for me also because I got to sort of oversee it, but I didn't really have to do anything. My tracks were already done, so I just got to watch the other guys do their stuff, and it was quite a fun honor, kick back, and old stuff made new.
Perfect. So there have been already so many questions now coming in about the record, about the catalog, about Annihilator's future. I will try to structure this a little bit. In the meantime, you can still post your questions on the comment section in the chat if we missed something out, but we made some notes and I try to go over that now with Jeff here. Basically, you started already. So many people wanted to know why you picked metal as the record to be the first from the catalog campaign and being re-recorded with Jeff and with Dave and Stu now.
Yeah, it was your boss's fault.
Yeah, he told you to do so.
Kinda. When this is like some people, I remember some reading some interesting comments on my Facebook page about, oh, why is he redoing this stuff? Oh, blasphemy to the original guys. And to that, I would say, I'm going to answer some questions off the top of my head. The idea wasn't to dishonor the two great musicians, Mike Mangini and Dave Padden, who were on the original. It was to release a second version and offer both of them to fans. So there is no competition. It's just a fun little, bonus idea that Max at Adel and I had, at earMUSIC, that we had to sort of create a little buzz and something interesting to sort of announce the mega catalog reissues that are going to be coming out from earMUSIC in the next few years. So it wasn't really a planned, recording. It was more like, what can we do to make something interesting? Rather than doing a new album. That's not what this is about. It's about a catalog. So yeah, that, and then other people, so we made sure that both records will be released. So it's not like, it's two different things. And a lot of times, as we all know, the original is usually the better of them. This is more meant to not compete. It's more meant to be just like, for me personally, it's like, holy crap, Dave Lombardo's on my album. And then Stu Block, same thing. It's just a cool thing for us.
I read this in a couple of interviews. You mentioned that you always wanted to have the original hi-hat and ride from Rain in Blood.
Right. Yeah. So you got it.
No, you got it. Congrats. Yeah. So going a little bit more deeper into this, so you changed a couple of tracks from the original metal version. So why that?
Well, a couple of reasons. One, there's one missing with my good friend Michael Amott from Arch Enemy. Very talented guitar player and songwriter. And band leader, I guess you could say too. He was on a song on the original original metal album called Operation Annihilation, but some engineer along the way, total idiot, me. Back then I didn't have backup software like we have in our offices or on music or just, your home PC or Mac, whatever. A lot of us are smart enough to back up their stuff. Well, I wasn't smart enough back then, and I would drag and drop backups over to DVDs and Blu-rays, basically cut and paste, right? And I guess at some point along those early years, after the record was done, when I copied each folder, each song over of the masters, that one didn't make the backup. So for years and years, I was copying folders as backups without the original song on it, Operation Annihilation. So when I did the deal for this catalog, the catalog itself was, it's not like Waters did a deal for the album and it's still mine and you guys, the labeler. I literally sold it. Everything is like gone because, as people know, must know, having that many records in your possession, it's a lot of management, a lot of work to find out where these records are released, where they're not on iTunes, not on Spotify. So at any rate, back to that, Jeff, my mind's getting wandering, is I lost the masters to that song, but I panicked because, like I said, I literally sold the catalog and I was selling something that wasn't there. It was like, oh, I hope I'm not in trouble. So I basically resurrected, brought back from the dead, not actually an appropriate term, 2 songs. One from a Van Halen cover called Romeo Delight, and one Exciter song called Heavy Metal Maniac. They're sort of first, along with World War III. Heavy Metal Maniac was here's Exciter. That was like the big band before Metallica and these guys started. It was Exciter and Anvil's first record. So I realized I had to fill that missing engineering mistake, the missing song. So I thought, do I grab the Exciter cover? Do I grab the Van Halen one? And of course, both Eddie Van Halen and Alexi passed away. So it became like, okay, I'm going to put both on. I don't know what the sequence was in that for the timeline, but also it was kind of cool because Dave Lombardo, if you remember the timeline of Slayer, I think Dave Lombardo would have been a teenager when Exciter's first song came out on a compilation album, one of these Mike Varney Molten Metal or whatever it's called, Massacre, whatever. So I thought there was a chance maybe Dave Lombardo was a fan of that early Exciter stuff, and the singing drummer Dan Beeler, who's a great friend of mine from the same city, Ottawa. And I was right. Dave loved the idea to do it, and Dan Beeler, of course, loved the idea that the mighty Dave Lombardo is playing his drums. So, and of course, having Alexi on the song "Downright Dominate," the Romeo Delight one, Lombardo, Block, Waters, we're all huge Van Halen fans. And I believe Kerry King even quoted that Romeo Delight, the song we chose, was the heaviest Van Halen song. So it kind of made sense all around to put these covers on and fill the gap of the missing engineer song. And that's it.
So talking about Anvil and Exciter, there was a question coming in from Gurkhan Haidar, who wants to know, Jeff Waters, could you please tell us your favorite Canadian metal rock bands, at least if possible, top 5? Greetings from Istanbul, Turkey.
Yeah.
So do you want to drop some names here and make the final decision?
Istanbul rules. We had some great times there, and we hope to come back again. Absolutely. And there was a really cool shopping mall. And anyway, it was rock band, not metal band, right? Did it say rock?
Metal and rock band.
There's too many. I mean, from my early days when I was a kid, there was some things that really stood out. When you're a young kid and disco's happening and things, you see that, Kiss came out with I Was Made for Loving You, right? And when I was young and Kiss Alive 2 album cover came out, that was just a shock. That was every kid's sort of dream and nightmare at the same time. And I'm sure most musicians of my age and around there felt the same. The cover of AC/DC, If You Want Blood, with Angus Young with blood all over him, that was amazing. But for the Canadian stuff in the early days, the band Loverboy's first album, April Wine, they had some like Roller and some other songs, but they had an album, Nature of the Beast, that was just mind-blowing. There was a lot of good rock bands, way more than just those two, but those two, and of course Rush. But mine were more Loverboy and April, especially April Wine from Canada. Then in BTO, Back When Turner Overdrive, Taking Care of Business, and all these other great songs. But I think once the metal got into my blood, because the heavy metal, the Maidens, the Priest, the Scorpions, all that came in. The next phase, when it got into the real sort of heavier music, Venom kind of was the introduction to me to that heavy death metal type of style. But then through them, I discovered the originators, the first Anvil album, the first Exciter album. Exciter was the first band, speed metal band, that took Motorhead and made it faster and gave it some double bass drums like Les Binks did with Judas Priest on, Hellbent for Leather, Killing Machine, and these albums. So I think Razor Razor as well, but they were later. But Anvil and Exciter's first records had to be not only on me, but on most of the big four or all of them, and a lot of other bands. We unfortunately, because of management and all these other different twists and turns, a lot of people really didn't see the band, except for the Anvil movie, and that Anvil keep going, they never stopped. They're on their 18th, 19th album, whatever it is, and they're amazing. But the impact was made on the metal business with their first 2 albums. So I got to stick with them, and April Wine would be my favorite Canadians.
I think this answer is pretty much Perfect. Marco, would you have something to add from your side?
Yeah, sure. I've read a question here from Sebastian Thrash, who asked, Jeff, can you tell us when specific albums are coming out over the next 1.5/2 years? I love them all, but I'm looking forward to buying specific albums on vinyl, and I'd love to know when they'll be out.
Yeah, so the first 3 Annihilator records were considered likely the bigger ones, and the 4th one, King of the Kill. And of course, from King of the Kill onwards, except for I think one album called Triple Threat, which is like a DVD live show documentary, earMUSIC would have everything else from King of the Kill on. And I think Chris could probably tell you, I think the idea right now is the introduction to, hey, the catalog's coming out. We're trying to give you kind of something interesting, so you'll go to their website to subscribe or to, you know, get hooked up, so that whenever we're releasing or they're releasing catalog titles and special contests, giveaways, free guitars, all that fun stuff, you'll get alerted to it. So make sure you subscribe to whatever the heck it is on earMUSIC. But they're going to be the ones to tell you what's coming out and when it's coming out. Get to that page and you'll know everything before I do, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what we can announce so far. Exactly what you pointed out. So we definitely officially can start with King of the Kill as the first one to follow after the Metal 2 release. About the first 3, I can tell that we tried to get this solved somehow to let them be included, but since the right situation is not 100% cleared at this stage, we can't promise anything, but we are trying. So the website was www.ear-music.net/Annihilator. It's also posted already from us in the section, in the chat section of YouTube, so you can find it there, and on all things we put out so far. There's a landing page where you can sign in, and as soon we have the next run in place, which will be most likely by end of this year, by the fall, something like that. That's what we're planning right now. You will be first if you sign in there, first to know, and you probably also have some.
Is there a guitar giveaway?
Yes, there is something going on still. Yes. Okay. What kind of guitar is this?
Oh, I don't know. I'll give you a oh no, okay. No, you're not getting any of my. I'm just looking at the wall. This is my Van Halen wall over there. You're not getting my Van Halen guitars, but I'll give you one of my signature guitars then.
Yes. So also the information for the guitar giveaway. So you automatically will participate on the competition by just registering and signing in.
When does that close, Chris? When is that finished?
So we said with the release of Metal 2 on Friday, and I still think we will do the pick of the final winner Monday, Tuesday, and we'll announce them. The good thing, Jeff, there's something added on. Some people requested, so how can we get a virtual lesson or meet and greet with Jeff? So there's something connected to the guitar, right? So
$1 billion.
We have to pay you for what?
I don't remember what it was, but I remember telling you or Max or one of the guys that or girls at earMUSIC that I'm at your disposal if you need me to talk to some fans or whatever. I'm here.
Yeah, so this is the thing. The winner of the guitar will get some kind of exclusive meet and greet virtually, like this here. Sure. But you can directly talk to Jeff. Maybe get some cool licks on top to show. And so we will announce next week when.
So because you're just like me, the question is pretty short, and we give 55-minute answers. Sort of going back a little bit to what he said, even though it's not really about the reissues. The first 3 albums, I got to throw this in, when this all comes back to life with the touring stuff, and I don't want to just run back in. I want to wait till everything's settled, and it looks like everything is going to justifiably get back to what was supposed to have been done, I think, a while ago. 2023, we're planning the first album, Alice in Hell. Our amazing singer, Randy Rampage, passed away in 2018. Stu Block has said that he would come in and sing that album for us live. And then second album, Never Neverland, which is my favorite album, which you guys don't have. Coburn Farr is the singer on that one, and he's agreed to come out and do the tour as well. do that record. And the third one's Aaron Randall for Set the World on Fire. He was a singer on that, and he's coming out for that album. So the first thing out of the gate is if you don't end up getting re-releases for the first 3 albums, if it doesn't happen, you're at least going to get an anniversary reunion kind of tour. So it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so that have been many questions. I mean, in general, the feedback so far, there's so many comments, but the overall vibe in there was pretty much all thumbs up for the performance.
Hey, why don't you just grab some bad questions or some negative ones and I'll answer them. That's more fun. Just get a bad one. No, seriously, do it like legitimately. Just pick a crappy one.
There haven't been that many. Someone was complaining about that he's missing Mike in here.
Okay, let me do it. Hey, let me answer that. Let me get on that.
Go for it. Get on it.
So am I. That's why I have in front of me the original metal album with Mike Mangini, so I can listen to it when I miss Mike. You can have 2 for the price of 2.
So there's also been question coming up, like, what about the original Metal 2? So Metal record, not Metal 2. So the Metal 1, so to say.
Yeah.
So this will be for sure also part of the full campaign. So we will do that chronologically. In a chronological order. That means metal is coming to you as well sooner or later.
Hey, listen, I used to listen. I bought Testament, Exodus, Saxon, all these great bands that I have all their records. I bought all those records where they go back and redo the records, and they do it. Sometimes it's done for different reasons. Sometimes for little bits of it, the same reason, like, oops, we need a release for promotion. Oops, we didn't like the original recording. We want to make it better today. Or they need the money, or there's usually reasons. But I buy these things anyway. I buy all the different ones. And I like both versions. And usually for me, the originals are always the winner, right? I mean, that's the way it is. So any issues on this one, like any concerns or negative thoughts, I can probably end them right now. This was not meant to be competing. It wasn't done for the money. It was simply done to sort of try something interesting and here's the real reason, to announce to you that there's like 18 or whatever releases coming in the next 2 years. So it's really just like a little promotion gimmick or idea to have some fun. So it's okay to not like the record, to not like the singing, not like the idea that we did it, not like the vocals, the drama, whatever you want, and say the original's better. But it's apples and oranges. We weren't trying to make it better. We were trying to do it different and give you both of them. So fuck you.
So Jeff, there's some valid critique here though that related in this direction. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
So why did we only choose solid colors? Swirled vinyl always sounds better. You should have known that.
Well, yeah, but that's your fault. I don't own the records. You do.
Oh, Chris?
Coming back to me. Well, there's an answer for that for sure. Since I'm also a vinyl addicted person, and I would love to have all the special things that people who are addicted to that beautiful stuff as well. But the problem right now, since we still have the pandemic going on, we have to cover, Jeff, you don't want to hear this, but that's our reality. So we have to work around all the problems that we have right now in terms of getting the stuff together that it needs in time to have synchronized releases, especially the granules and stuff. So people who are close or working in the music industry right now, connected to physical products, know the problems that we're facing at the moment. So the leading times for special products are insane. That's our reality. So at the moment, it's really hard to get the special coloring like marbled or splatter vinyl and stuff.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, actually, but still, I mean, the plain colors, we can discuss and get into this completely geek stuff, like about the sound and if it's better or not. I think this will be an endless part to start this year. So we picked the colors based on the artwork, actually, that you came up with as an adaptation of the original one, and we felt this is a good fit. That's the reason why we have the orange and the blue. The blue one for Germany only. Sorry, we are a German-based label, and we try to give something to our people over here as a special. be sure there will be different special releases from other territories and countries with the upcoming catalog releases.
Yeah,
100%. We will present some more exclusive stuff.
That's good point. Good point, because keep in mind, everyone, that this is metal too. It's just really there to be an interesting thing right now and to catch your attention so that you realize most of the entire catalog is coming out in different formats and different times. And it really, remember, that's what it's for. So enjoy this one. Have a blast with it. You like it, don't like it, or sort of like it. Have fun, but there's lots of Annihilator stuff. I'm going to be an old man, and they're still going to be putting out my music. It's going to be great.
Yeah, ending on that one, Dan H is asking, hey, Jeff, short question. What's it like to be awesome?
To be old?
Awesome.
well, thank you very much. I mean, alive is and healthy is good enough for me. But yeah, I'm in my, hey, you know what? I just turned 56, and I'm actually very excited because we have this anniversary stuff on our brain whenever it opens up, but we're not panicking or stressing or putting pressure on. We're going to do it when it happens, when the right time is. We got this huge catalog coming out. It's going to be a lot of fun little things around it. And after the tour for the anniversary stuff, while this catalog is coming out, the last of the second year, we're going to get back and probably do another tour, take a break, and come back and do a sort of earMUSIC catalog tour, which will basically be all the rest of the albums after those first three. So it's kind of neat because we get to do the anniversary stuff with the original guys, then come back and take a nice break for half a year, and then go out and literally help earMUSIC sell that catalog. But we're doing it just for the fun of it, just to have, and we'll probably bring the other couple of singers that we had in the later days too.
Meaning Ray Hartman and others.
Well, he's a drummer, but the singers like Joe Camo and Dave. That's all right. Dave Patton, Joe Camo, me. There's a few of us that likely would be able to do that. I know Dave Patton would probably come with us, and we'd love it. And maybe Joe Camo. We hope. We'll see what happens. But I was going to get, for example, this Neverland Alice Set the World on Fire thing coming up. I was, the first thing you think of is, oh, let's get the original lineup. Well, we kind of lost one of the main guys right out of the gate, Randy Rampage. But also remember, there's some musicians from the early days that we haven't heard of them in 30 years or so. And there are reasons. Either they're not in music anymore, or they've been having problems or health things, or even I think there's a criminal record on another. And there's all these different things that it'd be... A lot of fans don't know that you can't just flick a switch or wave a magic metal wand and have everybody back healthy and ready to rock after 30 years. It's actually an invitation for a heart attack for a lot of people.
I see. So next question, pretty much in a similar direction about what to expect next. So Brent Irwin is asking if Ballistic Statistics really going to be the last album.
That's I know Brent. Hi, Brent. Good question. As far as I am concerned, I am doing a lot of fun Annihilator stuff coming up. Well, these tours and festivals, and Stu Block singing with Cobra and Fire and Aaron Randall, and maybe some other guys coming back too, and all these maybe Sweden Rock, Hellfest, Vakken, big shows, blah blah blah. All this kind of stuff sounds great. It's going to last quite a few years. Plus, I have this other band, which is, believe it or not, it's my main focus. Shh. Man, what more do you want? Holy crap. 17 studio albums. I got a new band, and we're doing anniversary tours with original members, and then maybe a catalog tour. So that's the plan. It's going to be crazy. I love it.
Sounds so good. There's a statement here from Morgasmic who said, so glad I was able to attend the listening party. Such an amazing birthday gift for me today. Thank you. Maybe we'll get a birthday shout out to Morgasmic.
Yes. Well, is it Morgasmic with an M?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
That's a pretty cool name, actually, when you think about it. I got to use that for an Annihilator song. If I ever do another Annihilator record, if I ever even do it. Oh, I didn't answer the question. But first, a shout out. Happy birthday, Morgasmic. Record. Am I doing another record? I think that's what the question was before, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
No plans at all. The last one I did, I think, was probably the best I'm going to get. at this age and level of my career. I could keep going forever and keep pumping them out every year and a half. And maybe every 3 or 4 albums, I might get a special one that's just better than the other 3. You gotta call a spade, we say. When you're the main writer for 17 records and you produce, mix, master, engineer, play guitar, play bass, play lead guitar, write the songs, manage, book sometimes, look after all this stuff, you can't be good at all of it. And you're also going to run out of ideas, and you're going to copy ideas that you've done and even copy other bands a little too much because you're fans. So I kind of think that Ballistic Sadistic is going to be, this probably going to be it for me for the Annihilator writing. But that said, if I'm touring for the next half decade, I don't think anybody cares. Lots of good music.
There's one fun question here, off topic to music. I forgot to copy the name. I'm sorry, but one of the guys wanted to know about the Camaro you owned back then, and then you had to sell it when you moved to UK. So is there a replacement car, something special? Talking about cars.
Oh, like what car did I get when I came here?
Yeah.
Well, I actually came here and I had cars, SUVs and stuff, and I was a Camaro guy since 1987. So I'd always buy Camaros, all the different versions, except the crappy ones that came out after 1994 or something. So when I came here, it was like, well, I'd love to have a supercharged Camaro and waste all that gas and whatever. So I did even worse. I went and got a nice Jag. So I'm not contributing to the environment right now. I'm just fucking going as fast as I can and turning up the music and the rough mixes from my new band and the Annihilator earMUSIC catalog. Just, I think it's called an F-Type R. So it's a little rocket.
And it's got a cool license plate too, right? I think I saw.
Yeah, it's got EVHs in the license plate. My wife has some vehicles, and let's just say she's kind of following suit. But we're big. My wife knew about Van Halen when I met her years ago, but it wasn't. She realized I was an absolute obsessed fan, and not just of Eddie and Roth. It's just the whole band, the whole thing, everything. Up until 1984, and then after that album came out, I was a huge fan of the production and the drum sound and the mixes and the Eddie's different styles he'd do. And Hagar I actually liked a lot before Van Halen. I mean, there's some great songs like Right Here, Right Now, and Amsterdam, some classics with Sammy, but I'm a Roth guy. I don't know how I got off topic, but my wife, I ended up getting her completely addicted. So she, every morning, like she might be over there and I'm over there, and I'll get a bloop message. It'll be her standing there over there, sending me all these cool pictures of Eddie and Roth that she found overnight. So she's hooked. She's we got the Eddie Van Halen car, the Van Halen striped car seats, the whole thing.
There was one comment saying that's Metal 2 in combination with Dave and Stu. So that reminds him a little bit on Pantera. Would you agree?
I think on a couple of songs, there might be 2 songs, I think, where Stu, remember with Stu and Dave, I kind of freaked them out a little because they expected that they were getting hired to play on a record and that this Waters dude was going to tell them what to do. And it's probably similar to, I'm guessing, but when Stu was playing with his former band, the guitar player or producer would be sort of telling him what style and this and that. I'm just guessing. And then with Slayer or other bands, I'm sure a lot of times Dave Lombardo might have been said by, Carrie or Jeff Hanneman or the producer, do it like this, or maybe try this or try. Whereas I think they thought maybe I was going to really control this whole thing. And I actually was smiling the whole way through the video chat we did because Dave was the most stunned of them all. And Stu was just like, didn't know what to do. I literally said, how about you just do your tracks, 3 takes, and we'll pick the best take. And they go, okay. Dave said, well, you want me to send you all my different ideas? And I said, no. He goes, well, you got to hear them first. And I go, no. I mean, and I just smiled like this, and I looked at them on this Zoom thing and said, you're Dave Lombardo, you're Stu Block, you do whatever the F you want. Like, come on. And it was just like, we call it deers in the headlight. It was like, they were looking at me like, huh? And that's it. They got to just bang away and do whatever they wanted, did a bunch of takes, sent them to me, and I just picked them. And that's it. It wasn't meant to be some fancy studio record and 3-month recording, right?
That's cool, because this already answered the question I picked up next from Sultan Savalta. He wanted to know, like, so if there was any direction from your side and, for
nope. Which going back to the other one is a couple of songs. Stu sounded a bit like Phil Anselmo wannabe style because he didn't know what to do. Nobody was saying, "Hey, sing like this," or "Nah, try it like this." I left it to them to do their own thing. So if you hear things that are that way, then you could ask Stu. I mean, because he didn't know what to do. He was like, I guess Jeff might want a heavy thing. So he loves Phil Anselmo. So let's do a Phil style, right? So again, it's not meant to be this brand new record that we came up with. If me and Dave and Stu sat down to do a real record, that would be a completely different thing, right?
But still, the reinvented version has a pretty much different vibe now. So there's a good question coming from Hendrik Attimer here. Like, Jeff, which reinterpretation had the most unexpected outcome from your point of view after?
Great
after
question.
Couple Suicide. That's a good question. Couple Suicide, to me, always sounded on the original. Backing up, Danko Jones, a good friend of mine. I haven't spoken to him in a while, but Danko and I would get together at his shows, our shows, tours. And sometimes we'd be on tour in Europe and he'd be playing similar venues and on the same kind of tour. We'd bump into each other sometimes. And same with, like Devin Townsend. But Danko was the one where we were kind of doing the similar circuits. We would see him. But he's from Ontario, the province of Ontario. And that's where I was from when I lived in Canada. So right from way back, him and I would write songs together. So there's songs him and I have written for a couple of Annihilator CDs. And that one was a little interesting because, it's me and Danko writing a song, and Angela Gasso, former Arch Enemy, manager of Arch Enemy, amazing singer in her genre, nice person. They're on there, but what I did was I took Danko's main voice off because he sang on the original, and I kept his backups with Angela on it and put the lead vocal on with Stu. And I'd always felt that Couple Suicide was kind of like an American, a USA, not American, North American, American USA. It had that vibe of that. And I was probably, my share of that song, was the more American part of my writing, was probably way too late to be original or groundbreaking. I was probably copying a vibe of something that happened there 10 years earlier, 5 years earlier. But I always thought if United States music crowd would hear it, it might actually do well. People might like it. It didn't for lots of reasons. And, maybe my fault, maybe other people's. But this time around with Stu singing it, I was like, oh boy, this ain't going to work. Because I was guessing that's going to be the one where Stu's not going to have a clue what to do. And I hope I don't have to put Danko's voice back on the same thing, right? And I get Stu's back and I went, oh my God, he took Danko's ideas and my ideas and did his own thing to it. And it's just, that's the only song where I can honestly say that I'd put them both up against each other, that the new one may be just as good, right? So that's it. Good question.
Yeah, very good question.
But by the way, the one Stu's on, Danko and I wrote it. So Danko's like, he's on the backups, but it's like cool to have Danko. He ends up writing for Stu, right? It's cool.
Marco?
A quick personal question. Is there anything that you wanted to do that you couldn't do?
Yeah. Well, up until now, I'm going to pump this again. I can't say the name of the band. It's no big deal to anyone until you hear it. It could be crap. It could be the best thing in the world ever. But this thing I'm working on now is kind of the one kind of band or music I've always wanted to write, even before Annihilator, because I grew up in this kind of music. So, like, I love the Knack, the Sweet. Oh God, what else? Of course, Van Halen, Roth Van Halen. I love the Stones. I love AC/DC. I love that kind of rock, like hard rock stuff that was called heavy metal back at that time. And I've touched on that with my Annihilator band. We've had our ode to AC/DC. We had a song called Shallow Grave and Nothing to Me. Those two out of our 180 songs those two were like our AC/DC tributes, but it was just a fun Annihilator-ish version of AC/DC, and definitely nowhere near what AC/DC is. But this new thing, so to speak, it's not meant to be like a Steel Panther, who are masters at not only the comedic image and the theater of it. Their albums were, if you just didn't see the image there, you'd be blown away. Satchel's guitar playing and the vocals, Michael, it's all amazing music. And I didn't want to go back to try to recreate something in that style, because Steel Panther actually did the music, the album CD stuff was the best anybody's ever going to get. I mean, to go back in that style, I wanted to actually pretend I was in that era and have a more modern singer put on that music. So I'm going to totally fool everybody when they hear it. They won't know I'm playing guitar on it. They won't know I wrote everything. They'll have no clue. So that's my fun. That's my fun thing I'm doing.
So can we expect you wearing a wig next time on stage?
No, exactly the opposite. It's exactly the opposite. It's not about image. You're good.
I'm just kidding.
I know, but I'm hoping everybody, because it's not about that. It's about, my number one thing was to make the opportunity with a label, with a publisher, to maybe get some movie soundtracks before it actually came out, and, you know, a ballad and then a rock song, and get it set up properly, like the good old days when hard rock twin guitar stuff was happening, to do it old school. Everything on the album is done in Vancouver. Mike Fraser, we're going to get all these people have recorded it that are just the legends of the craft. And it's meant to literally be, the goal was, people get to hear it and make it and decide. But when they hear it, the goal for me is for people to go, who is that? Because that's not going to be a kind of music that we're all used to in the United States and Canada and all this. It's kind of like an almost anti-modern music, back to the rock guitar stuff. No joking, no fun, effing around with the image, no nothing. This is just going to be a record you put on, and I'm hoping that there's at least 7 songs where you go, who is that band? And that's all. You're not going to know who it is. It'll just come out, and you'll like it or you won't. But it's going to be a fun challenge. I'm going to fool every one of you guys and girls.
Then there's a kind of related question. Would you ever consider doing a cover album?
Yeah, I did before, but it's kind of like Annihilator has been my entire life since the end of 1984, December, I believe, when me and this dude that was into Rocky Horror Picture Show, Meatloaf, Alice Cooper, that was his style of music. His name was John Bates, and he was the, quote, singer, because he was kind of a singer. He was more of an entertainer and a voice that was kind of like not professional sung. It's more of an attitude, just like Randy Rampage. And it was about the acting, the delivering of that. And he and I wrote a couple, I think 6 songs. One of them was Alice in Hell. And if you listen to Alice in Hell, that was a theatrical thing with a ton of different riffs strung together that shouldn't work. And it's funny because with the passing of Meatloaf, it's interesting because John Bates was Alice Cooper, Meatloaf, and Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I was a new technical style that wasn't really out yet. The Scandinavian scene hadn't come out yet with the faster players and the more tighter players. I was kind of a fast, tight picker and that at the time for a few years. And then the Scandinavians completely destroyed how good I was at the speed and tightness. But it was the perfect marriage of theater with that thrash, heavy metal, hard rock, and technical stuff I was doing. And there comes Alice in Hell record. I'd never since then really been able to do something completely on my own without the name heavy metal or Annihilator connected. So there's no heavy metal on the record. It's a hard rock record. So it'll be fun.
I have another question here. Jumping back a little bit more to the what actually, as a musician, the live business. Are you missing this? For sure you do, right?
Live? No, I was unlucky, but extremely lucky. Lucky to have an amazing wife. Lucky to have my health, because my health, when this whole thing went down, what was it, March, April, something like that? I was thinking, if this isn't the end of the world like they're telling us, then I'm good, because my wife has I moved to her estate, sounds fancy, in England, and it was her hard work had the place already. I just simply got rid of everything I had in Canada and moved here. And the place is big enough and has 2 buildings. It's got the house, and then it's got this building that we built for the studio and the artist and producer engineer loft upstairs. So I was thinking, well, I guess I'm going to have a great time. We're isolating. We got a big property. We don't have to see anybody because apparently we're not allowed to see anyone. And I'll do my music and we'll just get through it. And I very quickly watched a lot of my friends in the music thing panicking and having some real mental health issues and addiction and, the whole works. And then I realized, oh, that's right, because if they don't get out and do their next tour, they're broke, or they can't pay their rent, or they can't, it was a kind of I was thinking, oh, okay, I'm good. And I was almost happy, that I get to write music and live in my studio. Quickly, I realized most of my friends were having a hell of a bad, difficult time. And, I tried to do what I can to help some people out and some other things. And so I got, it was going to be a good life. And bang, we got COVID. And I got COVID in later April, I think, mid-April of 2020. And I got, of course, the first version. I think they told you Delta was worse. And, Omicron, so everywhere. The bad cold one, right? The one I had was at the beginning, and it was deadly. I was, as we all know, no matter what anyone says, the first guy was very deadly, and I was for about 12 days I was fucked. Like my chest was like somebody sitting on it. Every time I breathe in and out, it was like a crackling fire. So wham, somehow I ended up getting that, and it really messed me up. And the family got it too, and they were okay because they're younger and in better shape and better looking. So I got through that, but it took me about 6 months to regain my lungs. So I was really lucky that I quit smoking a few years earlier, because I think I was really on the edge there. I wasn't like, Will from Death Angel or hospitalized, but I was that close, and it was scary. I was actually stupid. I should have went and checked into the hospital, but I didn't. I just said, I don't want to go there. I don't want to get the tube down my throat, the breathing tube. So anyway, I didn't even know what your question was. What was the question?
I was asking about if you missed the live business.
Yes. So after I got over the COVID thing, I was like, well, I'm glad we didn't have any touring, because I couldn't have toured. I mean, I couldn't have even stood up and played for like 4 months. So I thought, when I rebounded back and realized, okay, I'm recovering, it's getting better, then I had what's called a hernia. I ripped a muscle in my stomach. And of course, I had to have the worst type of surgery for that injury. So I had my stomach cut open, big incision, and I gained weight afterwards. I was on painkillers, too much junk food, laid around and watched too much YouTube. Got very sad. Picture me having a couple of codeine pills, watching the TV at night, eating potato chips, crisps, and having some Kraft dinner. And crying when I'm seeing pictures of bands that I wished I was as good as, and musicians that are amazing today. And once I got through that and got better, I changed my health around, because I didn't realize for years I was eating like shit. And even way before COVID, I was just not eating right. And I wasn't super fat, but I was going up and down, and I was eating so much junk and crap, and changed my whole health thing around. That gave me that took a lot of time, a lot of effort. So I don't miss the road. I realized a few years ago, use this time to get all the things that you've screwed up, or anything, friends or people in the past that you might need to say sorry to, or health things you need to figure out, business issues, putting your catalog all in one place to get it available with earMUSIC, plan the future stuff, but get rid of the past and get it all, move on, and get your health in order. Once I got that done, my thought wasn't touring. I was watching all my friends' bands canceling tours. So why would I go out, now my plan was spend 6 months and make one badass hard rock record, which is what we're doing. When that's all finished in June, then we're gonna try to book 2023, and then I'll miss it. Then 2022 later, it'll be the perfect time to start touring. So, phew.
Jeff, I can't believe you forgot the kidney stones, man.
Oh, kidney stones, yeah. And I also had my two. Hey, not only that, if anybody's had kidney stones, I've had about 3. They're the most painful thing in the whole wide world.
Worst. I had it once. It's horrible. we are old farts, aren't we?
If you get these little stones that look like are jagged, that have edges that are sharp, they can be as bad as big ones. And I had both. And each time I go to the hospital for them, because you go to the hospital, you don't stay at home. You no painkiller helps you except morphine. So I went into the hospital, and each time of the 3 times, they'd say, a different nurse or doctor would say, "Oh, you got one of those." And if it was a female nurse, if they had children, a lot of them would go, "Well, that one's probably worse than my second child." You know, so it was.
I had that too. I had that from my anesthesia.
But you know what? I found out that this is a good one. Jeff, the non-doctor's advice. I had no idea, because dehydration, antibiotics, inherited. There's a couple of reasons why you get them. Thyroid problems. There's a couple issues. Mine was because I ate big bowls of spinach salad every single night for 3 years.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So, warning, if you're prone to kidney stones, don't eat spinach.
Spinach, asparagus, all that stuff.
Popeye!
So there's a question from Sultan Sawala, which I'm quite interested in too, actually. So this kind of ties into the end of that. Jeff, how do you stay in shape, man? Holy hell, you look exactly like you did in 2010. No. But so you've turned it around, but what's the new routine then? So what have you changed?
Right now, I've got orange lights on here, so you can't see the bags under my eyes as much. And my teenage acne, I have little, makeup type things to put it on there. Yeah, I don't usually look this good. My wig, you can see my wig. It's my. No, you know what? I think with my diet on track, and I haven't drank for a lot of years. That's a big one. We all know, if you look in the dictionary, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, I'm just going to say a fact. Class A or 1 carcinogen, which basically something that causes cancer, is what alcohol is. It's a poison. If you look it up in the dictionary, that's what it says. So I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, if you have a little poison, maybe you're okay. If you have a lot of poison, and if you do a lot of poison for a long time, I think it's the same with cigarettes. I used to smoke cigarettes, and I was off and on, so I was screwing up and smoking, which is, okay, if I live, that's great, but I quit that. But it's a combination. If you're eating shitty foods, well, any of the stuff I just mentioned can cause diseases, right? So after, and rock and roll, to me, it was about girls, loud music, musicians, watching bands sweat and give it 100%, turn it up loud and fuck your ears up, drink, screw your liver up, and sometimes smoke or smoke weed. We all know these things are probably not good for, the things we're doing there. Music's great for you, but the ears and the weed and the drugs and but I'm from the era where that was just part of your lifestyle in high school and after, and some of us got out of that cycle and still love the music. We haven't changed our love for the music, and we can still sweat and rock hard and still come up with music, even aggressive music, even if you're not angry. But I think in my case, it's a combination of all those, like it is basically for every human, but also a big one is I'm really lucky that I get to do something, even though it was stressful as hell for so many decades, and it's a nasty business to be in. It's one of the most crooked criminal businesses to be in. It's set from the top down to make sure that the last person anybody gives a crap about is a musician trying to make it. So there's a lot of really bad stuff that goes on in this business, like acting, like the movie business, like other things. However, if you're around long enough and you stay healthy enough, you can find the more honest people and even some honest people and good people. You can, but if you don't love what you're doing, in your life, and it's easy to say from someone who's made a living in music, right? It's easy to be able to say this. But in my case, I would say if you love your job or what you're doing and you really love it and it involves art or being creative, even computer programmers or software people, doesn't matter what you do, a musician, if you create and you can make a living, how can you not have the best job in the world? I mean, how can you not stay young? They say music makes you young. Well, art, creation, if you love what you do and you're behind a computer, you're doing a fitness instructor, you're doing things like that, fitness instructing, not doing a fitness instructor. That's different. But that keeps you in shape. That would keep you in shape. But you got to love what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, I realize there's a lot of people in the world that can't always do what they love and they have to do a job maybe they don't want to, for their families or for pay the bills, but try the best you can to enjoy what you're doing. And if you really can't stand it, get out. Don't be like a few people I know back in my hometown of Ottawa, who I still talk to from the 80s, who are in the same job they hate and they've lived their whole life just cruising through and at least not making an effort to break that like ridiculously waste of life, boring cycle of life. I mean, do something. If you're doing good things outside your shitty job, that's okay. If you want to donate to charities or say volunteer at a dog puppy shelter, or humane society, or I don't care what it is, good. Go to your shitty job, but do something fun outside of it that makes life worthwhile, or get rid of that crappy job. It's better to almost starve and do what you like than it is to make money at a crappy job where you're doing bad things or just not liking it, right? That's just my philosophy. So I like what I'm doing. And because I like what I'm doing, I think that helps you stay younger. Maybe not physically, but it helps you act younger and like a goofball.
That sounds like the perfect last words, to be honest. But we still have some minutes to go, actually.
I've got a good one.
So I have a follow-up question on that, Jeff.
Wait. Before.
Yeah.
Wasn't part of our deal. Since you own the records, you going to pay me for this last question?
This needs to be discussed.
Gotcha.
We'll send you a mail,
this is a
Jeff.
freebie.
We'll send you
This is a freebie. I'm doing it for the fans, not the label. Go ahead.
Point.
Go, Chris.
Go ahead.
No, my question was, since so you're facing in 24, you're facing 40 years Annihilator anniversary. So could you pick some most memorable point of your career, being like this was the game-changing thing for your personal development, or what?
I could skim through from the beginning quick. Getting my first record deal in record with Roadrunner Records, Alice in Hell. I had just, my only goal when I was a teenager was not to be some egoed out rock star to be the number one best and think I'm better than everybody. My goal was if I could only get a record out and get a record deal, and I was only thinking about one, and just be part of that group of all these great metal bands that I liked. And I was never trying to be better than them. I always assumed I was going to be, if I can be like 75% as good or 55%, or, you know, I never tried to be number one. So therefore, I didn't really have a lot of failures in my life because I was not let down that I didn't reach number one, be the best. I was always happy just to keep putting a record out. So the first record was a huge thing. And ironically, when that was done, the touring was done for Alice in Hell, my manager goes, okay, now come to the office. We have to talk about doing another record. And I honestly went, oh, we got another record. We have to do another record. I didn't even understand that. My whole goal was just one record. So that was a highlight. Then the second record, that was a highlight because it was the best album Annihilator's ever done. And we got to tour with Judas Priest on the Painkiller tour. So that was the best thing in my life for the music. Moving on, it was like discovering festivals and playing everything from Wacken and Hellfest and all these great festivals. And really, then the number two really is going to be just the ability to be 56 and to have started the band in 84 and come up to 40 years and still be putting out records, because Adel will probably be releasing the last of the catalog around that time or just before. 40 years of Annihilator. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, a Canadian band who, whatever. I mean, I used to, as a kid, I would sit outside the Ottawa Civic Center, which was an arena, and sit on the steps because I was not old enough to go to the concert and listen to Van Halen when they played. And so the early days of Van Halen, I was like, couldn't get in the concert, but I was sitting outside on the steps and the security guard would let me listen. And the other one was mowing the lawn. My dad would give me, or mom and dad would give me $5 Canadian to mow the lawn every 2 weeks. And I would have a Sony Walkman, a cassette player, and I would listen to British Steel by Judas Priest. And to think that, I don't know, 6, 7 years later, I would be touring with Judas Priest on the Painkiller tour. It was just mind blowing. So those are past things, and nothing beats that high of playing a stadium on the Painkiller tour. You don't get better than that. I never had that aspiration, that goal to be the headliner at Munich Olympic Stadium. I had the aspiration of playing with the headliner at that show. That was my whole dream come true almost. So I couldn't be let down by any of the rock star stuff. I was already successful right away.
Cool. Marco, you had the last question.
Yeah, there's a funny one because Jeff likes the dirty questions, right?
Yeah,
the evil ones. Okay, Igrat Rhodes, evil question.
Yeah.
You recycled a lot of riffs on Ballistic Sadistic. Have you noticed it, or did you just not give a?
So when I do records, I get all these people before the record or after the record wanting me to go back to the roots. So if I go and do a back to the roots, it means I need to go back and do something similar or kind of the same to the early stuff. So when you go back to the roots and you do something in that style, then people will come out and go, why are you doing the same early style riffs? So if I do something new, this is not me, it's any artist. If I do something new and different, they will say, there'll be some people that say, well, we like the old stuff. Why don't you go back to the roots? So it's the same thing with our singers. We've had quite a few singers in the band, maybe 4 or 5, myself included. The ones that were around longest were me, and then on the most albums, and Dave Padden next. And whenever there's a singer in the band, a lot of people will go, oh, we like the last one better. And then when the new singer leaves the band, the same people will say, oh, but I liked your last singer. So it's something that many decades ago musicians hopefully learned to deal with, which is nobody's going to be happy with everything you do. And sometimes you do stuff that's just not very good. Sometimes you're not having a good album or a good song. It's not as good as the others. That's life. It's every band's. Priest has never made Painkiller or Defenders 2 times. Number of the Beast was never made twice. Back in Black was never made twice. Rain and Blood never got done. So you're never going to get Never Neverland twice. It'll never happen. Igor, Ivor, whatever your name was. Hey, you know what? Also, hey, he's got enough records and songs. There's 180 Annihilator songs. If he likes metal, he's going to find one song that he might like. He might find 10 or 50. So if you don't like the other ones, don't download them. Don't pay for them. Bootleg them.
Okay, final question then before we end the live Q&A. Which re-release are you looking forward to most upcoming after this one?
Well, I'd say King of the Kill is kind of that was a very, it's not because it was a big album, but that was a very big album for the band. And it was my first album singing. So everybody said, no way it's going to work. And I'm not a singer, really. I mean, I'm a guitar player. So to have that one hit like number 2 in Japan, and Europe did amazing. It was like, I mean, I think we were second only to Bed of Roses on the single with Bon Jovi. It was crazy. You go into a shopping mall in Japan and your heavy metal music you're doing is on the radio and in the shopping malls. It was just surreal. That was a big one for me. And I'd like to see when that comes out, because the remastering and the mixes on there are better than the original. It's not re-recorded. It's just better quality. So I can't wait to hear that. But also really Schizo Deluxe from 2005 is going to be the best guitar sound that I'd ever done. So I've always got from a guitarist point of view, that's my best record.
Sweet. Well, thanks so much for joining, Jeff. I'll pass this on to Chris to wrap it up finally.
It's teamwork.
Let me say.
We have some people in the back as well, spinning the records and doing all the filming and stuff. Yeah. So actually, this is maybe something for all the people out there still joining us. So if you like what you got tonight with the exclusive pre-listening and Q&As, we are trying to establish this pretty much on our channel as a series also for other artists. So sign up to our channel. If you want to follow up with all news on the catalog campaign, sign up to the landing page. We posted them a couple of times in the chat. It's www.earmusic.net/annihilator. Pretty easy. You will find it. Yes, thanks for joining us here. It was very entertaining.
Jeff wanted to get some said as well.
Final last words are for you now.
Yes.
Yeah, couple things super fast. One, yes, if you're seeing this on YouTube, then the link is right down there. You click on that, and you should subscribe or join this page Chris is talking about, because we might have other events where we're going to try to get Dave Lombardo and Stu Block in here and have a talk with everybody too. We giveaways, the whole thing. Make sure you subscribe, all of you. And I guess people are going to see this later. Is it repeating later, or just it's always available? Is that how it works?
Well, we try to cut out just the Q&A, and we'll make this available public. Afterwards. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Well, thanks for everybody for tuning in. I don't know if there's 1 or 1 billion people, but when you finally get around to, having a listen to it again or whatever, enjoy it. Subscribe to that page though, because there's a lot of really cool stuff that earMUSIC is coming up with soon. And plus, we'll give you the news on touring there too.
Yes, and it's important to know for all the collectors, you are first to hear. So we will send newsletters to subscribers about new releases before we publish them on public channels. So it's an exclusive thing just for you. Don't miss. Yeah.
Thank you. That's guys. Hey, thanks to 007 and 009.
Yes.
008, all you guys from earMUSIC and girls. And thanks to everybody at the label.